Hi everybody, BeanMeister22 here. So this video is, I don't want to say it's a complete fail or it's useless or it's a waste of time because there's a lot of good information in it, but it is kind of useless, a fail, and it was a waste of time for me, a big waste of time. So I wanted to take my Gladius drone into the ocean, out into salt water. For the first time. We've been in swamp water mostly, and the water's not clear this time of year, so we wanted to get down to the Oregon coast. And I figure if I'm going to drive all the way down to the coast, I mean, it's not really far, a couple hours, but if I'm going to drive all the way down there, I'm going to go all out. So I went to Ace Hardware, and I bought one of those garden wagons. You know those wagons that you use out in your yard and garden that have those big, air-inflated tires for pulling it over rough surfaces, and it's metal and it folds. I'm not going to fold it, but it has the ability to fold. I actually wanted one of the ones with that black plastic tub, but they were out of stock in those because they were on sale for $99 and they were out of stock. So I had to get this green folding metal it rattles unit for $119. But I was happy enough to have it because in order to bring all the gear down to the water, dragging it across the beach, I can't take multiple trips. So I want to load it all up, and then we can get that wagon down there. So I load that in the car. I load the Gladius drone in the car, fully charged, of course. I make sure my phone's charged, and then I throw the Skydio drone in there too. Well, if I'm going all the way down to the coast, I had 4 locations I wanted to film at, and then at least 2 of them would be really good to put the drone up in the air. Wow, this is going to be a project. My buddy Al used to say, Weird Al would always say, don't make a project out of it. Well, if I'm going that far, I might as well make a project out of it, right? So it was warm. Not as warm as it's been these last few days, at 107, 113, 115, 117, which is way too hot for my area, but it happens sometimes. And it's not global warming, it's just that the wind stops blowing from offshore, and then it starts blowing from the deserts on the eastern side of the state, and then blows to the west instead of from the west to the east. And yes, it's hot! So that day it was hot, but not hot. And I really got my arm sunburned big time, because I don't like to run the AC. Even when it was 105 degrees the other day, okay, when it was 110, 112, yeah, I ran the AC. But, after a while, I don't like to run the AC. I'm a roll the window down kind of guy and enjoy the hot air blast of breeze on me. So, I drive through Portland. There's a video about that, dodging tent cities. So I drive through Portland, going down to Lincoln City. My first location is Siletz Bay at the far end of Lincoln City. That's what we're seeing here right now. And it was hot and sunny all through the valley. And then the Coast Range, it was good and bright and warm. Where it was 80 inland, it was in the 70s in Lincoln City, which is really nice. And all through Lincoln City, it was bright and sunny. And then when I get to the south end of Lincoln City at Siletz Bay, the mouth of the Siletz River, bam, we are socked in. Hey, I'm good with that cloud and overcast. Doesn't affect underwater filming at all. It did affect my filming on shore, where I was filming the harbor seals across the bay there on Siletz Spit, but yeah, that's a whole other story. So I get rigged up, we toss it in the water. The first thing we see is, there's a lot of chunks of seaweed floating around, but I don't see any crab or fish or anything. That's weird. I used to crab from this very place. We are on Siletz Bay, right next to Moe's clam chowder or Moe's seafood, whatever it is, right next to Moe's. And if you were to type that into Google, Siletz Bay and Moe's, you'll know exactly where I am. And I'm not seeing anything. I'm just not seeing anything. So I do the first run, and then I lose all communication. I've got no control over it. I still have video filming, but it's starting to drift out towards the ocean, to the mouth of the bay, and I have to hand reel it in. What the heck? I've done that before. I've lost all communication, and then I've had to hand reel it in. You got to be gentle, because I don't know what this tether can take. So I get it in to shore, get it up on a log, I mess with it and reset everything, restart everything. Okay, I got control again. I put it back in the water. I'm zooming out. I'm probably 75 feet from shore. I don't think I got 100 feet out there. And it's still really shallow. It's only a few feet deep. And I'm not seeing anything. In fact, the whole time, all I see is one, possibly two jellyfish. And it would have been cool if I could actually see what was going on instead of zooming on by it. Even on an overcast day, with the glare on the phone screen and the shroud I had, I still can't see detailed enough. I'm going to have to break down and buy some goggles. I also learned that day that the cable, well, I mean, I kind of knew this, the tether cable, it's kind of a rat's nest. So yeah, I ordered one of those electric rechargeable, the reels that come with this. You still have to spool it out by hand manually, but it does reel it in and spool it for you. Sadly, that's like $729 or $749, Ugh. It's supposed to arrive today. Hasn't got here yet. And by today, I mean right now where I am, editing this video, not the today of what you're watching. So there I am, 75 feet from shore, and I'm driving around. And then, bam, pops up on the screen. Switching to low power mode, battery low, yada, yada, yada. Video is disabled. And you can only drive slow and low power. I'm saying, what the hell? I got a full battery. I drive it to shore. At least I didn't have to yank it in hand tow, right? I drive it to shore. I'm messing with it. I try to reset. And it keeps saying, even on shore, you got a low battery. I didn't run a diagnostic there on the beach. I did it when I got home. But really, that put a damper on everything. I had 3 more locations to go to film, and they were each probably going to be much better than this location. I mean, this had good potential with the harbor seals, and then there should be a bunch of crab here. But what I'm seeing here, the other locations will definitely be better. But not if I'm out of battery. I can't figure out why. The thing charged overnight. It was fully charged. I checked it in the morning before I left the house. I don't know what to do. I couldn't get it to work, so I downloaded the video from the drone to the phone. Remember, that takes a long time because the SD card is permanently mounted inside the drone. And we've mentioned this in another video. They have the newer model of this coming out any day now that costs $300 more. So instead of like $12.99, it's like $15.99. But it does have a removable card, and that'd be worth that $300. It has extra stuff too, but just the removable card, that alone makes it worth the money. So I download the stuff from the drone to the phone. I pack everything up, and I might as well just go home. I drove 114 miles to get to this video filming location. I was there, I want to say, less than an hour. I mean, definitely wasn't in the water for an hour. I was there less than an hour, and I just turned around and drove back. I mean, what the heck was the point of that? There was no point for me to drive to them other locations, even just to put the Skydio drone up, because the main focus of this trip, this journey, this adventure was to put the Gladius drone underwater in either saltwater or brackish water right there at the ocean, or at the mouths of rivers and bays right there at the ocean, because there could be cool stuff to see. So I drive all the way back, and I skirt Portland this time. I kind of just take the back way. I get home, I plug the drone in, and I look on the phone under support, and I do a diagnostic, and it says the battery is at like 70%, over 70%, 71, 73, I don't know. I'll make a whole video. I filmed it. I'll make a whole separate video about this glitch or error or horror, a whole nother video, okay? So I really wasn't in low power, and the low power thing wasn't popping up. So I hit support, and I also show this in the other video. It pops up on the screen, give chasing access to your telephone. No, I'm not going to deny. And then they wanted access to my email. No, maybe I should just call the Chinese Communist Party directly and say, hey, here's all my data. I got it on a stick for you. Just come pick it up. What the hell? And then one last try, it said give chasing access to your phone's camera. Oh, man. Hello, Chinese Communist Party. I've got some pictures for you. What? Yeah. Okay. Yes, this was made in China, but I was under the impression, I don't know if I still am, I was under the impression that this is top of the line. This was the best out there. Chasing makes the best drones, or that's what I thought. And I might think that, I don't know either way now. It's like DJI. DJI was top of the line. They're a Chinese-based company, but they got great technology. Skydio, American made, and they have some technology that DJI can't even touch. But forever, the pinnacle of quality, the top of the line was DJI. And all those other Chinese drone companies are trying to copy DJI. Kind of like you have those Chinese companies that do knockoffs of other companies' products from around the world. You have Chinese companies that knock off other Chinese companies. Remember we saw that in the, Lego knockoff videos we used to make. But remember DJI, those things go back to servers in China, and you know who has access to all of it, which is why you should never fly DJI drones near any critical infrastructure or government military installations. And I think they're banned on government military installations, well, for obvious reasons. And I told you that to tell you this. Gladius, in my mind, this Gladius drone made by Chasing, in my mind, is kind of like DJI. Well, how did I get that impression? Well, I saw a video, and I saw an advertisement, and then Chasing told me they have the best drones. There's a bunch of other ones out there, but I don't know what to trust. I don't want to start over with a new brand. But right now, this is definitely failing me. So I got a plan. Charge the drone back up. I bought one of those portable power boxes on Amazon, and there's a bunch of, Chinese-made ones from Chinese companies, and they look good, and they have good specs and ratings, but I don't know. If something goes wrong with them, what's my recourse? So I bought one from Energizer, probably still made in China. I don't know where it's made. I'll do a whole video on that. But it had a bunch of extra safety features, in case it explodes or if there's a problem. So I bought that, and then I bought an inverter for the car. I had one somewhere, I just couldn't find it. I bought a DeWalt, it was $39. It wasn't one of those $10 cheap Chinese ones. Is it still made in China? Maybe. But DeWalt is a big company. If I have a problem with it, I can, get compensated. I can get recourse. So here's the plan. When I get a chance, I'm going to drive back down 114 miles to the coast. I'm going to zoom that, I'm not going to zoom. I'm going to be in the lower power to start. And by lower power, I mean slower speed. I don't need to be zipping around. I can just, and it's better for filming to go slow anyways. So maybe it won't use the battery or heat up the battery that quickly. So what I think happened was, because we're there in the swells and you have a lot of current there, the drone was doing its thing pretty well. There wasn't a problem there. But it was probably expending a fair amount of energy to stay stable, to keep going, to fight the current. And that might have overheated the battery or overheated the motors, probably the battery. Took too much juice out of it in too quick a period of time. The battery's supposed to go for about 2 hours. A little less time if you're going to use the lights on bright, and probably less time if you're zooming around, zoom, zoom. Or if you're fighting current. So yeah. I'm going to put it back in the water, and then if that issue arises again, when I pull it out, I'm going to plug the charging system into that Energizer power pack and let it start charging. Then I will move on to the next location, because from Lincoln City, the next location is probably 20 minutes away. I was thinking about the bridge there on the Salmon River on 101, because there are big salmon there. I used to fish there when I lived in Lincoln City. And then the next spot after that is another 15 minutes away out on Cascade Head, which is the mouth of the Salmon River. And then the next location after that is probably another 10 to 15 to 20 minutes away just to drive, and then another, 10 minutes of towing the wagon so that I can get some charging time then. And also with the inverter, I could plug it into the car if I didn't want to waste the battery box. And then that might top off the battery, and it would definitely give it time to, I would say definitely give it time to cool down. Well, it wouldn't have time to cool down if it was being charged. But it would put some electricity in there, and maybe that will take care of the problem. It's very disappointing because even if it didn't have that battery issue, it was saying it was down at 70-some%. It shouldn't have been that low. And if you remember, I had big plans of buying the next step up from this, which is the pinnacle de resistance, is the M2 drone. It's got 8 motors instead of 5. It's actually square or rectangular. It kind of looks like a real, underwater drone, submersible. And it's got, a lot of, it's got rails for cameras and lights, in addition to the built-in camera and the built-in lights. Because a GoPro camera would be a better quality camera than the camera that comes in these drones, though they so far seem to be okay cameras. But that's, $2,700, pushing $3,000 by the time you're done. And I can't spend that kind of money if their quality and technology is not what they're saying it is. The good thing is that Power Reel will work with either of the drones if I do upgrade. But now that they're having a better version of this Gladius Mini come out, supposedly better version, from the options that I'm seeing, it definitely looks better, for $300 more. I might go that route, but not if this is a total failure with what I have going on now. But when you buy enough accessories of one brand, you don't want to switch brands. It's like if you made a mistake and you bought an Apple, then you're stuck with Apple products, otherwise you have compatibility issues. So that's the plan. I saw a couple jellyfish, at least one, and then 3 small fish, and it's a sandy bottom here. If I was out there and gone out farther, I should have easily seen crab. Like I said, we've crabbed in this exact location, and then with as many harbor seals as out there, I was actually afraid if I got out too far, the harbor seals would start messing with the drone. Yes, that would make for good video, but if they severed the tether, the video is lost forever. Yeah, that could be pretty scary. So it's the drone, right? Yeah. Actually, the water didn't look so deep. I probably could have waded out there to where I saw where the drone was. I could have done that. But, I'd have to do it before it drifted out to sea. And hopefully if they sever the tether, it's not the whole thing, so I don't have to actually get all the way out to there. If I had like 20 foot of lead, whatever. That's the plan. Hit the locations, charge it between each location, but it definitely should not be sucking down the battery as quickly as it does. And that's why I like the M2, because the M2, it has replaceable batteries. So you can go for, an hour and a half or so, bring it up, replace the battery, take the old one out, slide the new one in, bam, get diving again. Except replacement battery is like $1,200. So really, to set up that chasing M2 drone the way you want it, you're going to be at $5,000. Easy. And another little problem, and then I'll show that in that video I have upcoming, is the app, the software that you put on your phone is really geared to the M2, because when you fire it up, that's what it shows, the M2. And you go into diagnostics and the cleaning and everything, it shows the M2. Even though you hook the Gladius drone up, and you start everything up, and you hear the drone makes beep, beep, makes some noise, we showed that in another video, it takes a little bit of time for that app to recognize the Gladius, and then, you mess with it, it never happens instantly. You mess with it, and then within a minute or two, bam, the Gladius Mini pops up, and you press start. Or you can press, look at the card, and then you're talking to that drone. But there's been a bunch of times that it's taken at least 5 minutes and me pushing a bunch of buttons and restarting the app just for it to see the Gladius when it keeps defaulting to the M2. I don't know if the M2 was the original drone, professional mode original drone, then they had this other thing, so it's an afterthought. I did a software update for the controller, at least that's what it said, but who knows if it's going to be any better than it has been in the past. And there's a thing in the app to report glitches, but once again, if you click on this, you're going to have to give access to your camera, access to your telephone, access to your email, to chasing. Beans, hush, I'm making a video. And that's the most bizarre thing. If they get access to my camera, it's going to be me flipping them the bird right now for the kind of money I am into this. Because doing the math, I'm at least, I'm over $2,000 into this. If it works the way they say, or the way it should, then yeah, it puts the drone in the water and keeps me out of a shark's mouth. I'm good for that. Good for that, good with that, but man, it's just very disappointing. So before I said, hey, this is great, and you guys are saying, hey, that looks great, that looks cool. I'm telling you right now, do not buy this. Do not buy it. Don't buy it. Until I have this sorted out, I can't say this is worth buying. I can't say this is anything but junk. For the few short videos I have never had more than 19 minutes worth of videoing before I've had problems with it. And it usually happens 10, 11, 12 minutes into the first run, or shorter, that I lose signal or there's an issue and it has to come to shore and I have to start over. Every time. Are we working the bugs out? Well, hell, I don't know. Because since it's internally sealed battery, if there's a battery issue, you're screwed. If it's a video card issue, what if that little micro SD card goes bad? You're screwed. See, a lot of electronic games and stuff and consoles that come out of China now, in order to save money, they don't have real hard drives. They have a micro SD card. They use the micro SD card as the hard drive, as the storage, the data storage. If there's a corruption in that card, or if there's an issue or it goes bad, well, you're screwed. Especially, and it's only in these units that they're permanently mounted in there. You know those Pandora box video game things that have the retro games on them? They also don't have a hard drive. They have a micro SD card. And they say it's permanently mounted, but it's not. And a lot of them, if you lift up that round QC sticker, it's right there, and you can pull that card out. In fact, you can put more video games onto that card and load it back in there. If the card's replaceable, well, then you can replace it, and if something goes wrong with the card or if there's a corruption in the card. If it's permanently mounted in there, supposedly like this one is, then you're screwed. Now, could we open this up and try to locate where the card is and maybe break into there? Yeah, we might be able to, but you shouldn't have to when you're spending $1,200 and some odd dollars on an underwater camera, because that's what this is. It's an underwater filming platform. So at this point, I'm telling everybody out there who's considering buying this, do not buy this drone. At least until, you hear back from me that these problems are fixed, rectified. Because really, if you're going to spend $1,300 on something, and then, like I said, $1,599, $1,600, whatever it is, on the new one, the new version of this, and you're still going to have issues and problems, then what's the point? They do make a cheaper one called the Dory. So instead of the Chasing Gladius drone, it's the Chasing Dory drone. Get it? Chasing Dory. But that is really just a toy, and that's like $600 or $700, and I've seen some reviews on it, and a very reputable online YouTube reviewer had nothing good to say about it, saying it felt like a toy. Of course it feels like a toy. It's really small. And what did you expect for, $700-ish? Because, $700 for an underwater drone, yes, that's going to be a toy. No doubt whatsoever. Toys are under $1,000. Non-toys are over $1,000. And when it comes to aerial drones, like your DJI or that SEMA, that SEMA drone was horrible. Pretty much 500 or so, 400 something, 450, 475. That's pretty much the cutoff. Below that price, it's a toy. Above that price, it's a real drone. I mean, it's $2,200 for that Skydio drone. Yeah. I pre-ordered and got it for $18.99 or $17.99. Still a lot of money, but it was American made. Alright, so I hope this video wasn't too boring. I hope it was sort of helpful. If nothing else, I hope you do not push that buy button right now if you're considering buying one of these until I figure out what's wrong with this one. Because you will be in the same boat as I am if there is an issue. And, I don't know, maybe you're willing to release your camera and your telephone and your email to a company based in China. I'm sure after their Politburo Chinese Communist Party member reviews all of your pictures and stuff and gets his little laugh out of that, they'll find there's really no useful spying stuff there, but still. Alright, so, like I said, hope this video wasn't a big waste of your time. At least not as much of a waste as it was at my time. Alright, so leave your comments in the comment section. As always, thanks for watching.
Beanmeister 22, the most dangerous man on YouTube.